friends, welcome back to the Messed Up Movies Podcast, the podcast celebrating movies and filmmakers that embrace the insane, the outrageous, the unhinged, the off-kilter, and the all-around kind of fun, even if you paid full ticket price and you don't want to, you can't take your eyes off of. I'm your host, Griffey, joined as always by my dear friends, co-hosts, fellow runners, creators of the Misfit Parade, Sam and Heath. Welcome back, guys.
It's Paul Glantz in his 420-person screen. That's why you can't take your eyes off of it.
Oh my God, Paul Glantz! I was so confused. Yeah, I was so confused. If you've ever been to an Imagine theater, they do a thing where they show you how many of their tiny little CEO can fit on the giant screen you're watching. Sam, that was a deep cut. That's the kind of resourcefulness we're going to need to make it through today's episode on Hell House LLC Lineage. Dear God, what's happened?
Via Zoom.
Yeah, via Zoom because I got sick. I don't know that it's because of this movie, but I'm not ruling it out.
Judging from all the sniffs, the nose sniffs, you were either on coke or you were getting sick during the theater.
I would have taken anything. Halfway through this movie, I was in charge of my children. You could have handed me anything. And I would have taken it. Quick business, guys. Go subscribe to Misfit Parade on YouTube. See our faces, see clips, see some cool stuff. We've been cooking up. I've seen Sam working on some stuff. It's going to be really cool, guys. Make sure you go to the Messed Up Movies Podcast Patreon page. Best way to support the show. If you're loving Alien Earth, Alex and I are ripping into that over there. It's been awesome so far. Really fun miniseries. Face Hugs. You can find that on the Messed Up Movies Podcast Patreon. So, we find ourselves here, guys. Hell House LLC Lineage, 2025. Here is the synopsis. After a near-death experience, Vanessa Shepherd, who you might remember from Hell House 3, if you're into that, faces nightmares in Abbadon. As mysterious deaths occur around her, she discovers her connection to the Abaddon Hotel, Carmichael Manor, and decades of unexplained murders. I think I was really fascinated, because I made you guys go see this. I don't know that either of you have been into the series as much as I have, right? This is my son Hunter, the Riz Master who you've seen on an episode of this pod. This is his favorite horror movie franchise. He told me this is the reason he likes horror movies, was because he loves Hell House so much. Hell House led him to Paranormal. He's a real found footage guy. Dead Streamer is now his favorite horror movie. Loves them. He was so excited all month to go see this movie in the theaters. He's like, is it Hell House Day? Every Friday. And I was like, not yet. I looked over at my son halfway through this movie and the abject pain on his face. Like, as a father, I was like, I have not protected my son. I'm a bad parent. This movie is accosting my child. He was so fucking heartbroken and depressed watching this movie that I think I extra hated this movie because of what it did to my son's love of horror movies.
Them's the hard knocks. Hey,
that's the hard knocks.
What can you, off the top of your head, think of a movie when you were a kid that was like your first experience with disappointment? Like,
yes.
What? I love movies. Why do I not love this?
Aliens 3.
Oh, dude, I liked Aliens. See, this is the thing. I don't remember having a lot of them when I was young. To me, what Hunter was going through was Episode 1. Star Wars Episode 1 for me. I remember
close.
Camping out. I remember skipping school so I could go see it. I saw that movie 15 times in theaters, I think. I saw it like 4 times the first day. And I just kept being like, I'm missing something. This has to be a great movie. What am I missing? And the pain and agony that the prequels brought upon me. Now they've been like sanitized and washed. But the thing... The interesting thing everyone's talking about with this movie, right? Hell House LLC is a found footage film. We make low-budget horror movies, or at least we're trying to, right? This was the gold mine. This is a movie that did so much with so little, right? A couple clowns in a corner, a couple good sounds, a couple, being wise with how you use the camera. It looks like it cost $5,000. And it is so haunting and so effective with this kind of documentary talking about a tragedy after a tragedy effect. This movie decided to go away from it and do the real narrative feature film. So, Sam, I know you've seen others of the Hell House, right?
Yeah. And this movie actually prompted me.
This? Why switch from found footage?
So I listened to a podcast with the director. And one of the things... Yeah, Stephen Cognetti. One of the things he really wanted to do that he didn't... So one of the downsides of found footage is the sound design aspect. So, like, with found footage, you can't get super creative with the sound design. You can't have, like, a score. I mean, you can, it just doesn't make sense a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Compared to like a narrative. So I think one of the main things was he wanted to tell the story. He basically just wanted to have a shitload of information in there, and it'd be hard. It'd be really hard to do with a found footage film to convey all that same amount of information. And then he said he really wanted to experiment with the sound design, which I thought he did a good. We should start with the pros. I'm trying to be positive this week.
Yes, Sam, I like this new positive you. Clearly, the carbs you have in front of you are helping. I love this. Your 32 bags of popcorn. Heath, I've kind of rushed us past it. I feel a lot of pent up energy from being sick and on the bench this weekend. You've never seen any of the Hell House movies.
I went in totally cold.
And we made you come in because we're like, this is for New Movie Monday. I am dying to know, what the fuck was the experience of this movie like, having no groundwork with the franchise?
I was just, over and over again, completely baffled. Like, so Sam, you said that it was a lot of information, or that was the intention. I don't think I've ever seen a film that had so much exposition that the more it unfurled, the less I understood. I mean, I felt like I was watching, like Star Trek. Deep Star Trek episodes make more sense,
right,
to me than this.
Yeah, this is definitely a movie where you should have done homework before seeing it.
Right.
I guess.
And my assumption was,
and that's the least cool kind of movie, the homework movie.
Well, I get it if that pays off for the loyal fans that have been with you through how many iterations now, and that's part of the reward. But I was just kind of confused because I assumed that since this was a wider release, it was a more traditional style of narrative, it broke from the found footage model, that the intention was to bring in more people like me that maybe had not been following along with every single episode. And that was a completely wrong assumption.
Yes, it's hard because we are on the 5th version, right? But like, if I show my kid Halloween 5 and they've never seen a Halloween movie, they still get a fucking movie, right? If you turn on Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child, you still get a fucking movie. I think the problem with this one is it's somehow both very insulting to the fans and not servicing the broader audience. I thought that point you brought up was fascinating, right? The reason to put this in a theater, it seems, is so you can get my mom to go, right? Like a normal moviegoer is like, oh, I've heard, this is a popular little thing. Maybe I'll catch it, right? There is no one on earth who hasn't seen these movies a lot. I've seen each of these movies over 5 times. My son loves them. We've watched them a lot. I went back and rewatched them after this movie because I was still like, I don't fucking understand what they're selling me here. I don't fucking get it. And I gotta say, I will give Stephen Cognetti credit on this. It does seem like he's had this whole plan and this expansive mythology in his head since the first one. When you go back and watch through them, it does feel like there are Easter eggs of things. So if he didn't write this with the whole story in his head, his ability to go back and frame by frame find things to turn into mythology, I admire that very much. But when it comes at the sake of like a character in a psychiatrist's waiting room and the camera holds, and I'm sitting there going, I've seen these movies so many times. Who the fuck is that? Why does that fucking matter to me? And I still can't fucking remember why that should matter to me. That's the problem with this movie. The mythology has gotten so big and convoluted, and now there's this car accident, but it was a satanic cult that killed themselves in the hotel. Even I, who've seen all these movies, couldn't follow it enough to give a shit, right? It wasn't deepening and expanding the mythology. It was almost like watching like a YouTube recap of a franchise. And there were no new payoffs. There were no new interesting characters or additions or elements to the story. I found myself shocked that this is the movie they said, now we gotta go to theaters. And to me, Sam, I don't know if you agree, I think this reeks of a director who made something, caught lightning in a bottle and made a really popular small series and is desperately trying to figure out his next move. He wants to not be doing Hell House forever. This was his audition for let me make a real movie, and it is a fucking failure across the board.
Well, I think he already proved that he can make. I haven't actually seen it, but 8425 Drive, I've heard is really good.
825 Forest Road, Dandino and I talked about. It's infinitely better than this. but it has all the exact same problems that this one has. It has long dialogue scenes with boring flat coverage that are just telling you things. It has like a found footagey. She's on a webcam and this mannequin's behind her. Again, he's really good at found footage and setting up tension and scare scenes.
Right, that was what I found was the most effective element of this. Were the very few scenes where he does utilize that. The character you were talking about in the waiting room when he's attacked by the entity, whatever it is, the clown, and he turns his phone on, and we switch over to the phone cam. Very effective. I thought that worked great.
Yes.
Suddenly I was like, ooh, okay, we're cooking here. Yeah. And then that was it.
That was it. That was the movie. And again, I think it's the dialogue scenes are fucking arduous and long. There's no editing flow to this, right? It struggles. And 825 has a lot of those same problems with just like a better, more digestible story. But Sam, you've seen more of these too. Did the switch to narrative work for you in any level? Was there something about it you think made it a viable choice for this franchise?
I just froze out for a second. Were you talking to me?
Yes, I was talking to you. So you like Hell House now? We're being interrupted by the spirits. I was saying, what did you think that the traditional narrative kind of filming structure added? Because to me, it did nothing but hurt this movie. So was there something I missed that you liked about it?
No, well, so like I kind of disagree with you guys. I thought it looked like a Hollywood movie. I thought it looked pretty good. I think
if this had played before us at Days of the Dead, I wouldn't have been shocked.
Right,
that's what it looked like to me.
I think the cinematography was pretty good. I think the staging and the blocking and the directing. Let's just say there's room for improvement.
I feel like they just held shots a little too long, but other than that,
I think a lot of that's editing. To your point, I do agree with that, Sam.
Yeah. And that would have made it flow a little bit smoother. I think that, honestly, man, this is the quintessential, like when you think of an independent movie, the whole idea behind an independent movie is it's not really catering to the wide audience. It's a very distinct, poignant. This is a movie that's just for the Hell House fans. They don't give a fuck about anybody else. I don't know. I think that's basically what it was. And I think he just ended up putting way too much information in this to make it seem like a slog.
I don't mind that the movie's just made for Hell House fans. I'm a huge Hell House fan. This movie didn't service me. Like, that's the problem. Like, why make a movie that adds... Because the narrative structure to me felt like a desperation play. There is no fucking reason to shoot this movie not in found footage. They didn't find any narrative devices that were made better by shooting like this. I was talking to Heath after the movie... When we were on the set of our newest segment we filmed, The Snail Trail Killer, right? I know, we're sitting here fucking shitting on movies from our high artistic loss. But me and Heath one day were talking about how we're going to do this scene. And Heath's like, well, we can't have the blocking be so basic and boring of coverage. And I go, Heath, that's a crazy thing. The words are so good that I've written. No one will care what the camera does, right? Like, just shoot the actors acting. I saw this movie and it dawned on me like I was in film school again. I was like, that's what Heath meant. Every single scene in Hell House LLC Lineage, the dialogue is so arduous. And there's and this, not to shit on him, but this is kind of the same thing that happened in 825 Forest Road. The director needs to protect the performance a little bit. You can't have everything in like a medium wide and hold every shot too long and start every shot too early and just leave these actors out to dry. You see these gaps where there's unreality forced into the performances by the decisions of the director and editor. And a lot of it is just that bad fucking setup for blocking and this and that. But these scenes, not only is the script just unbearably bad, like the writing is so ham-fisted. No one talks like anyone in this movie, right? But again, there's none of the aspects of filmmaking, right? It's a big toolbox. None of the tools in this movie are helping cover the seams between tools, right? It's all just kind of clunky, and you can see the seams on every scene, which makes it hard to get into. Heath, I don't know if you want to expand on that.
I mean, all I can add is just in terms of like tone and how the film felt. To me, it felt like a TV movie from the early 2000s.
Yes, that's a great way to think of it, man. Because again, and something else, Sam, I really latched on to in this one. I didn't realize how much found footage can be a Band-Aid, right? I've heard people talk about how making a found footage seems really easy, and it's not when you get into it, right? I can see that. I totally understand that. The thing Hell House did that covered its ass constantly was it had these cutaway interviews to people after events had happened, right? You know, whether it was a police interview or a morning talk show,
really helped the pacing.
Psychic guy. Yeah, they cut to someone who's doing an interview, and they'd be like, and Alex couldn't have foreseen what was coming, right? Like, him and his friends were caught blindsided. And they would show a still of something. Or they would set us up where we'd see them moving around. And
or even just text on screen sometimes.
Yes,
they just have
it
text,
added this
and
like
it
true
worked.
crime reality.
Yeah.
And again, it fucking puts coverage on these elements of we need to get information in here, but I can't fucking write exposition. It added this cover that you really saw in this movie. I don't know if you felt that.
That's a great point, because the reason it feels so disconnected probably from the found footage iterations is because you see all the artifice that an actual like traditional film exposes. If your dialogue is wooden, then your performances are wooden, and then all of that starts to stack up to where you just aren't buying it. I mean, it really shows you the skill and the expertise of like why we have, you know, decimal 001% of actors are Hollywood stars, because, you know, it takes true amazing skill and also craft on the other side of the camera too to get you to forget about all the fake stuff involved and then go on that journey. All the elements that, again, I've never seen the other movies, but everything that you're talking about helps pull the audience into believing whatever the story is that's being presented. And when you do a complete 180 and you say, okay, now we're going to go the other way and make it a movie, all of that falls away, especially if you don't have the skills or the resources to do it where you forget that you're watching a movie.
And I honestly think that with found footage, you can probably get better performances out of more novice actors, because you're not worried about the setup. You're not worried about the lights being in the right position. You're not worried about even the camera movements can be sloppy. So like all you got to concentrate is on the performance, and so they can just nail it, you know. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that makes it a lot easier. And they also don't have to act like actors. They don't have to act like they're acting. They can act like normal
Sam's
people.
being caught by the Tullies.
Oh, did I just freeze up on you?
Yeah, Sam's getting caught by the Tullies now. He's in the void. He's like, it was like you were.
I got the country internet now, so you'll have to forgive me. I'm on 5G. So.
Oh, nice. Hell yeah, dude. That's sick. Yeah. Good. It bodes well for the pod. But no, with found footage, right? I can put a camera in a room and I can float. I can tell the guys, don't worry as much about hitting your mark or this really close-up expression, right? You hear a sound, you're confused. You also can get ad-libs, and ad-libs will make actors sound more natural because it is what they would say in the moment, right? Their brain is feeding out this thing. So there's just, and I wouldn't say, I went back and rewatched these movies after Lineage. None of the acting is exceptional in any of them, right? They're all kind of this staccato wooden thing. But there's this constant air of, these are real people who are in a really baffling situation, right? And the Hell House series always has this looming supernatural hand that people are being compelled to do things that they wouldn't normally be doing. That also is a way to excuse a lot of the performance, right? In this one, and I'm not trying to shit on the actors. I think they all brought everything they had to it. I fully believe they were prepared and tried their best. I think Cognetti left them out to dry. He did not protect them with craft. And so the one girl who every scene she looks like she's crying or just finished crying.
Same
expression. There is no
the
fucking protection for her. There's nothing that makes her a person.
That's Vanessa, and I was like, yeah, I kind of thought the same thing when we finished watching it, and then I looked more into the story. This actually made me do a bunch of research on Hell House, and I've become a fan of Hell House. But Vanessa died in the last one, right?
Yes.
So I think as an actor, she was thinking, what emotion would you convey? Like, she's just in pure PTSD the entire movie. She's been to hell or whatever. I
mean, I agree, but there's a problem, right? It's the old Indiana Jones joke, right? Is that in the first Indiana Jones, if he does nothing but stay in his classroom, that movie happens the exact same way. The Nazis find the Ark of the Covenant, they open it, they melt, into story. He is a main character who has no effect whatsoever on the plot. Now, that movie can get away with it because it's fucking Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones, and it's Steven Spielberg. Vanessa in this movie has not one fucking affecting element on the narrative that she is supposedly the main character of, right? She wakes up and she's sad, right? She opens a winery in the town where she got fucking murdered in a basement by hell cultists, and then the rich guy who bought the hotel tackles the demon into the thing because he's a fucking angel, and the hotel burns down and they wake up in heaven. Like, what the fuck? And that the thing is, she named the bar Ackerman's whatever. That's the same name of the bar in the Faust Insomnia set, which I thought was like, that's a fun Easter egg. Doesn't fucking help me at all.
Yeah.
Why is she just running? Yeah, why is she running a fucking winery when these big ass things have happened? She's not looking for a fucking answer. She's kind of going to therapy. And then the movie happens and she's just kind of like, and people tell her all this shit and she kind of does things, but not really. If you took her out of this story, nothing changes except we don't learn that 98% she's going to be the daughter of Tully, right? Yeah. That Tully knocked this girl up and her brother now are going to be some fucking key to the Lake of Fire, which we've hinted at for series, right?
Well, and dude, Stephen Cognetti did a good job. Like, I know you didn't like the spark plug scene and I kind of agree with you. If they're well, we can get into this in a little bit about why would you want to be one of these fucking things. But the fact that he explained why their car didn't start in the first one, I thought was kind of a cool little Easter, or in the third one. All right,
let's pause here.
Whatever, fourth one.
So let's run through a very basic exposition of what this is. So Hell House LLC.
So this is going to remind me of the Lost series finale, where I sat down a half hour before the start of it, and I asked my roommates who were just like, they'd seen every single episode.
Yeah.
Said, fill me in. Let's go. Should have done that before this, because I loved the Lost finale, and they were all
dude, it kind of reminds me of the Lost, like trying to figure out all these little fucking things.
There is a point where you keep adding more questions, and you're just like, I'll get to an answer eventually. This was billed as the last fucking Hell House. It's clearly not the last Hell House. So they fucking cheated the audience in many ways. So Hell House 1, these guys from New York bring an extreme haunt to this hotel where this occultist, right, this group of cult people killed themselves years ago. Lo and behold, there's a gateway to hell in the basement, right? They didn't really kill themselves. All hell breaks loose and a bunch of people die, right? Part 2 starts on a morning show, right? Where the 3 people are being interviewed. A psychic, the documentarian from the first one who lost his partner, and a guy who's like a representative of the town, right? So they fill in the gaps by doing all these. Since the documentary came out, random people have gone and lost themselves in the Abbadon and never been found. Some nice little vignette shit, right? They go back to try to find his partner. There's some cool, like, murder scenes. We find out, this is something they do on every Hell House movie, too. I don't know why the dead love to be interviewed so much. But in part 1, they're interviewing a girl who died in the house. In part 2, the guy who's the city representative, the old ginger man, is the fucking ghost of Tully, who went on a morning fucking talk show to talk about what happened at the hotel. And at the end, they're just like, what do you mean the guy was in a car crash? I just interviewed him. He's the fucking head Satanist, and he's on a morning fucking drive show. It's insane, right? So they get caught. In part 3, a rich tech billionaire has been getting tapes from an anonymous source, and he goes and buys this to run a dinner theater version, an interactive dinner theater version of Faust, right? Where essentially you walk through this hotel with a mask on, like it's Eyes Wide Shut with no sex, and you watch this terrible version of Faust play out in the theater. And then the satanic shit happens again. The gateway to hell opens in like clip art fire. And we find out that the tech CEO is actually a guy who nearly died in a car accident, and God sent him back to help close down the Abaddon. And he spears this guy Goldberg style into hell, and the hotel burns down, and all the victims of the first 3 movies now are in the house, but it's heaven version of the house, right? And the girl who's in this one comes back from the dead, right? Then in part 4, we go to Carmichael Manor, which is by far the best version. That's the version of Hell House that is the same found footage gags, but with real production value behind it, right? And it's so fucking fun and slick. It's like these true crime sleuths trying to solve this thing. This sets us up with the mythology that gives us the clowns and this and that, right? A really fucking fun movie.
So wait, the clowns don't come in until part 4?
No, the clowns are in it from the start. This is the one hiccup Sam thinks he found.
That's my one nitpick, Heath, is I'm pretty sure the dudes from the first movie, and I've watched it. I didn't actually rewatch the first one, but I just scanned through it to the scene where they're in the basement. And he says, all right, you need to place 3 clowns, maybe 4 down here. And then they never talk about where they got the clowns.
Yes.
So they must have brought them from... But honestly, I feel like that could still work in the sense that... Well, it doesn't really.
It doesn't make sense. And in Hell House 4, the whole clown mythology thing is crazy because the brother of the sister who dies in the car crash, he works at the Abaddon Hotel and starts getting into the cult thing. But then
he's
there's
just
like
a new member of the cult, apparently.
Child murderer, pederast, is that what they were? That were running a fucking ball clown booth? That's why the red balls kept appearing in this?
Oh, yeah, the Changeling ripoff.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. This has such deep, weird mythology, right? Now that we filled this in, let me go back and attack Sam's previous point. If there are fucking literal demonic entities brought forth by a cult that has fucking sacrificed themselves to the lake of fire and now they can come back and affect things, why would you have to have the 30 years dead cult leader's son in a hoodie take the spark plugs out of a car? The supernatural beings can't shut down a fucking Honda Civic or whatever it was.
Well, I think he's one of the ghosts, isn't he?
Why is he wearing a hoodie? Why is he out in the wood? Because if you remember in Carmichael, they run out and they try to walk to freedom. And all of a sudden they see a hooded figure.
Dude, a lot of them aren't in... Because they specifically say they're not... There's only 3 clown suits, so the rest of them just have to wear hoodies.
But no. They're in, like, cultist robes. He's in fucking, like, Eminem attire.
Yeah. Well, he interacts with the public, that's why.
This is insane. Yeah. That was a stupid scene. When the guy takes the spark plugs out or whatever, and she confronts him, and we don't see his face, and we know that's going to be her brother. And now we introduce this other stupid fucking location, the lonely house, which was Tully's house, even though all his crimes were in the fucking hotel, which they specifically said was made after H.H. Holmes' murder hotel. Right? It was mimicked after that.
So why are the clowns showing up and killing people in their own residence or, like, the city council guy? Like, if it's all about the house... Sorry, I just feel like
this is the confusing part.
Yes. I am so just lost.
Well, no, this is great because this was last pod on the left's thing where they'd always have Ben Kissel do no research and just be the guy who asked questions, and it was great. But what happened is, so the story has this kind of problem, right, that forms with Carmichael Manor, where the main story is about this cult in a hotel, and they all kill themselves to become these demonic, apostles, whatever. Carmichael Manor introduces the idea of this car accident, right, that left this kid's sister dead, and he never recovers, and that's how he joins forces with the Tullys. The problem is in this movie, in Part 5, Lineage, they make the whole story seem like what it is a way to get revenge on this drunk driver who killed his sister, and apparently half the town somehow got in this truck drunk. Right? There's like 10 people on that list. I was like, how fucking big is your old-timey 3-seat truck? I feel like if you're in the bed of the truck drunk after a fair, your kids shouldn't have to get killed. You're not responsible for what happened in that car. And they're making it so much about the car crash that it feels like it's taking the piss out of the satanic cult. Right? Like it's two stories that were running side to side, and now they're fighting each other.
So here's the thing, man. They were a cult, right? And then Tully, the young Tully, that started, he was just a worker at the Abaddon Hotel. He was thinking about joining the cult, and then his sister gets murdered.
The young Carmichael. Murdered. He's from the Carmichael family.
Oh, yeah, the young Carmichael, not the young Tully.
Yeah.
He's friends with Tully, who owns that.
I love watching Heath's face, just like, what the fuck are they talking about?
But I think what happened was, and they kind of talk about it in Carmichael, which I just watched, is he, like, loses his mind after his sister is killed.
Yeah.
And I think the cult takes him in full form at that point, and they say, okay, our mission now is to kill all these people that fucked up your sister.
Right. Well, they also have the song like "Pray That You Don't Come Back," right?
Right. Yeah.
And like you don't want to come back as one of these hell creatures, which has been one of the coolest thing in the franchise when you see the old characters come back as like hell monsters. And so I think part of his thought is that he'll bring the sister back. But now the clown's out running fucking Jason Bourne missions, and because he's not in the Abbadon, he like got freed from the Abbadon, I guess, when it got blown up. Like none of it adds up to anything.
He does bring his sister back.
Right. So his sister is in the Carmichael now.
Yep.
But it feels like the last one they were telling us the evil was in the Carmichael, and that now that the Abbadon was closed, that would be our kind of entry point. But now it can just like hunt you down. Why did it wait 30 years?
See, I didn't like that aspect. I honestly think one of the things I dislike after watching the other ones, because you finally do see the clown move in real time in Carmichael. And it's super cool because it's all shadowy. You can't really tell if he's moving. He's just kind of like his shadow's moving. In this one, the clown just acts like a normal person, and it kind of takes away.
Right, because you would see like they'd be
mystique.
like, you know, like if the clown's by the door, we can get past him, and they're like, it's just a prop, and then it would like turn its head. And
That
it was
shit
super
was awesome.
effective. It was great. In this one, there is something about watching him walk away where I was just like, no one's gonna try to like drop kick him, like. No one's going to try to fucking...
No one's going to bring a gun and just try to shoot him, you know?
Like, even in Halloween, they eventually got to where Busta Rhymes is like, well, I'm going to try to roundhouse kick Michael Myers. Like, is someone going to do anything?
Yeah, no one even goes for a weapon. I mean, all this clown has is very powerful hands. Just like...
Yeah.
Well,
by the way, what an absolute fucking loser decision to make this movie full narrative so you can cheat and show us more things with the camera and not show us a fucking kill. What is the fucking point of that?
That's one
Why
of my
are you
notes.
pushing him down below the fucking captain's circle window and not showing us anything?
No payoff on any of these kills.
Yes, the point of shooting it the way they did is that now the camera can get in there. Now the camera can move and show us and highlight things that are important, and it never fucking does.
It was so anticlimactic. Like, there was some decent tension building.
Yes.
That opening, I guess it wasn't the actual opening, but the second prologue with the fair, the guy who was the dead father or whatever.
He was like a son of one of the guys.
Or was he the drunk driver? I can't remember.
Yeah, I guess he killed a person in a drunk driving accident, and then he's like, well, I got to go back to the fair next year, and then he gets got. I don't know.
Anyway, as implausible as it was, why he's the only one at the fair and all the lights come on. Oh, and by the way, what was with the cash? Because I noticed that the cash was like 20s that had been issued like in 2010, and this was set in 1993.
That was just like, a production design.
Like, so obviously that wasn't...
yeah, also, you've been to this fair, you're like, are people just fucking racking up at the fucking ball toss exhibit? Like,
big stack of
I mean, I guess that...
Are there really $5,000 there, whatever?
The cash was the bait or something. Anyway, point being, some good tension building with now we see the clown. Didn't know there was a clown there. Okay, now is the clown alive? A lot of lighting effects. Now the clown is behind him.
Yeah.
And then we're done. We're done with that. Like, that's it. The clown just
for a
shows up
moment.
behind
I was like, oh shit, they're gonna do it. Like, this was a good choice. And then we go to that first therapy scene, and I was like, oh god, no. Oh no, we're in trouble. Like, they can't pull this off. That first therapy scene is so excruciatingly bad. Like, they should have just gone and watched Sopranos episodes and learned some tricks. This ain't working. Like, you knew you were in trouble. And again, so it's like this weird mix of, you took away the thing that made us all love it, which was the found footage. They do have the expansive lore, and it feels like Cognetti knows exactly what he's putting out there, even if we don't, which I do really appreciate about it, right? But I think the thing I realize is, like, the clown's a great example. The clown works in small doses. The more this thing was on screen, I was like, this is not Art the Clown. Like, this is not an iconic and incredible design. It works when it's kind of like a background prop in a Hell House that starts moving. When it is now our featured fucking poster character, it does not have the fucking magic that it needs to get through those scenes.
I feel like they changed it a little bit too. In the other movies, it looks more weathered and like vintage. Mm-hmm. And this one, it just seemed very clean, and I don't know, it just looked awesome.
Yeah,
it didn't look as scary.
And to your point, when he starts actually like walking fast with like his big Ronald McDonald shoes, I was like, that doesn't work. That's not cool.
You're right, Sam. It did look like it just came off the assembly line and was picked up at Spirit Halloween.
And this is like a 50-year-old mask, according to the lore, you know?
So. Yeah, there's just... I think this is the prime example of when you don't do found footage and you want to fucking... Inherently, when you're crafting shots rather than just capturing moments, what's on that shot has to matter, man. Not a fucking moment of this movie mattered the whole fucking runtime. And even when they had cool beats, like she falls asleep at the drive-in and the girl's singing the song to her, he's behind you. Mm-hmm. I was like, I don't know how Cognetti, because scare scenes, right? You guys are editors. Heath, you're a director. Sam, you've directed. You guys know this. Scare scenes are all about timing. How far can you pull that thread before it snaps, right? And the further you can pull it, the more feeling you get from the audience. How do they do that so well And yet the pacing and the timing and everything else in this movie is so fucking unbearable. What is the difference in how you would film those two, Heath, that makes him so good at the one and so completely inept at the other?
It just seems like he's not very interested in the other stuff. It's just sort of boring. If that's what you're talking about.
That's a good way to think of it, yeah. This is like the homework dump section.
And that's exactly what it feels like.
Yeah.
Yes. My God, yeah. It reminds me, I had this teacher in high school. I loved him, Mr. McCauley, but he had glaucoma and just had to smoke weed all the time. And he would just rattle. Like, we'd sit down and he'd just be like 45 minutes straight riffing on history. And you'd just be like, God, this man loves history. But Jesus fucking Christ, is this boring. Like, God, I could not give a shit about anything he's saying. That's what this felt like, right? That's exactly what this movie felt like. And even then, I had hope when they finally got to the Carmichael Manor. Here we go. Something's going to pop off. Oh, she's in a field where the Abaddon burned down. Now we're going to pay this off. Sam, what do you think they got out of going back to the Carmichael Manor in this movie?
Well, I think that Carmichael was the best of all of the movies, so they had to
by
throw
far.
it in. And I think just having that there excites people. The fact that they did it during the day kind of bummed me out. It wouldn't make sense for them to go there at night, but during the day, it just didn't seem as scary. I liked the computer scene, that they recreated the computer scene.
Oh, with the girl who was on the Zoom? Dude, that's one of my favorite scenes. And when they cut, and again, this is where Cognetti made a good choice that I wish he had done more. We never see that in focus. We just see that her neck is like spilt back. And we can see the shape of a face and hair, but it's not in focus. So it doesn't matter what it looks like. The image is enough to make us do the work and scare us.
Yeah, I thought that scene was really good. The whole idea, like the priest, I liked the priest even though his dialogue was terrible. I thought he was an okay actor.
Well, when he just kept being like, hey, man, don't go in there. And she would just cry and not listen. Dude. And he'd be like, hey,
what
man,
was your plan, lady?
Hey, come back here. And I was like, dude, she's gone. You should have let her die and gone and exercised the house. What are you doing?
Yeah, or bring some cops. I don't know. Like, bring some more people with you. The whole Carmichael thing was a little underwhelming to me. And how he died was kind of lame. He just got his throat ripped out.
Dude, she just fucking MacGrubered him.
But he didn't even try to fight back. I'm like, dude.
Well, because he starts like sweating and crying. And I was like, what did you think was going to happen when you showed up? You weren't prepared to fight evil? But the lady just goes, if you let us gut her, we'll let you go. And I was like, holy shit, that's cool, man. What if the priest fucking runs? Yeah. What if the priest takes off? I was like, that's something cool in this movie. I was desperately searching for something.
It did seem like he thought about it. I think he kind of considered it.
Had he made that choice and left as we see her getting slaughtered in the background, that helps this movie a ton. That at least gives it a choice that mattered the whole movie. No, he just gets fucking MacGrubered in front of the rip-off lady from the Conjuring basement scene who's pulling her face out of the side. It's not even like she pops up out of a sheet. The sheet literally rips in the exact same place as the lady in the Conjuring basement. And I was like, so the coolest shot in the movie was fucking ripped off from a much better movie.
Yeah, that was a cool shot, though.
I like the girl getting out of the casket. Like, there were moments where I was like, all right, this is going to pay off. And like everything else in this movie, it just lands in a wet, disgusting plop.
Can I ask some other out-of-pocket questions?
Yes.
Since I have no clue what's going on. First, who were the young ladies with the video cameras?
Those are the two true crime girls from Carmichael Manor. Yeah. So they went there to explore the Carmichaels and ended up dying in the house.
So we have like overlapping timelines in this film.
So somehow she has the ability, this main girl we've been following, to go back and walk through things that have already happened. Right? Because at one point, the bald fucking, handyman or whatever who runs the Carmichael Manor, we find out that he was in on it the whole time. Right? The guy who let those two documentarians in to get killed, he's in on it. As he was telling the kid who was the clown, hey, man, don't say any more. The daughter of Tully can hear. So somehow she can go back and hear these things.
Well, and somehow he could know that she's there.
Was that a satisfying moment when that happened? Because I could recognize that, okay, this is some element from prior installments that I'm just not up on. But that wasn't satisfying to see that being referenced. Okay.
This movie has a big problem with thinking it's revealing something that'll matter to us. It's like, this is not like Han Solo coming back, right? This is like a guy who was in the movie for like 2 seconds and I forgot. Like, he doesn't matter. Yeah.
Who was her ex-husband? Why? And why was he killed?
Didn't matter. He was
councilman?
the son. He was son of one of the drunks in the truck.
Right.
But he never factored into the show at all either.
So he was a new character that was.
So she must have married him in the 3 years since, because she ran a massive fucking morning talk show that airs to like millions of people. Replaced the lady from the talk show in part 2, and then woke up in Abbadon and never left, and must have left this Abbadon local. Married him and then divorced him quick. I don't know. Yeah, that doesn't matter at all either.
Okay.
Yeah, that was like a big thing for a scene that wasn't actually even that good.
Yeah.
Like, his death scene, that was the one where he pushed him down and it looked really corny. He's just like,
we don't ever see anything.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough, man. This movie's a fucking big nothing burger. And then we get to the end, right? And we kind of have this, the Abaddon will never die, because the Abaddon was not the house. Even though we literally saw the gateway to hell in the Abaddon twice, right? Maybe 3 times. I'm trying to remember part 1. So yeah, maybe 3 times we've seen it's the literal gateway to hell, right? And they're like, no, that's not the lonely house. The lonely house is Tully's rundown shack with the cross on it that you've seen somehow, because you were his daughter, but he never found you, but he killed himself. So another one of those, like, could this all add up? I don't know. She's looking at pictures with weird numbers on them, which are on the wall of the basement in the earlier installments, which I was like, I guess that's cool, but none of it matters.
It's like
why would Tully having 2 twins matter at all? All the bad stuff's already happened. How could they stop any of it now?
Well, they could still burn down the house, I think. What I
think already did.
What might be a possibility is Vanessa is actually dead. Because we've had so many characters that still exist in the world after their death. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's how... She doesn't really exist in any certain time.
I think she's going to be... Is she going to be an angelic avenger like the rich guy in part 3 was?
Well, it does seem like whoever Beverly was, which was Carmichael's wife, I guess. I don't even know who Beverly was, but she was someone's daughter. And she was pregnant and had 2 twins.
Oh, no. So like, that's not even... related to the Carmichaels. That's another thing they found in the grandfather clock in Carmichael Manor, the movie. That's this is a complicated and convoluted mythology.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that scene at the end where they're like, you've seen the lonely house, and it just went to black. I have never seen this in a theater before. The people in our theater started laughing, and these ladies in the back row just kept saying, what the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? And then I looked up, and she looked at me and started laughing, and she's going, and like putting her hands out like that. She goes, what the fuck was that? And I was like, yeah, I don't know either. Like, they were literally laughing and mocking the movie the moment the credits started. If Stephen Cognetti's name was on the screen, she goes, what the fuck was that? To every person that turned around and would look at her. And I was like, that's insane. My son had his hoodie up, and he goes, let's go. I'm so cooked. I'm like, that movie is so cooked. Like, I hate it. And I was like, this is such a tragic fucking way to have this series happen. It took me back to Paranormal Activity 5 Ghost Dimension, which for some reason, after 4 rock solid movies, made the exact same fucking mistake. Right? Where they said, now this one, there's a family that's not connected to any of this. They move into this house that's on the burned down ruins of another house. And they find a camera that has 6 video tubes and extra focusing knobs so that you can see spiritual activity. I watched it again today in my sick fugue state, right? Because I couldn't sleep. I was watching, I go, how the fuck could Hell House Lineage exist in a post-paranormal ghost dimension world? That movie said, you know the thing that made this work? Found footage and you never see anything and you're always looking for the terror? And it's a gotcha surprise. What if you could see a fucking cloud of dust in every shot? And you're like, now there's no more tension. The whole movie doesn't work. It's a crock of shit. That's exactly what this movie did. The thing that made it work, they ripped all the guts out of that and said, here, you guys will like reading an encyclopedia for an hour and a half. And I absolutely did not. I'm telling you guys for a fact, this movie's going to fucking bomb. And if they make another one, if it is not fucking found footage again, they will not sell one single fucking ticket.
Well,
if this movie does not have the Band-Aid of the found footage formula after this big of a betrayal of the audience, they will never fucking sell a ticket again for this movie.
There's no way it's going to bomb. There's no way that the budget could allow it to bomb.
I guess that's a fair point.
Now, it might have, because it is coming out with a higher profile since it's in theaters, the word could be out a lot faster not to rent it.
So apparently it's reported box office gross so far is $144,000.
That's it?
That's what it says here.
Ouch.
This is just a quick Google, so take that for what it's worth.
I felt like there were a decent amount of people in our theater.
Our theater, it was one of the more busy horror movie theaters we've been in this whole year.
I just don't think it's in a lot of theaters across the country.
No, it's not, because we only had like 2 theaters show. It was like AMC and Imagine. That's it.
But it's going to be at least in like 1,000 theaters.
Yeah, you would think.
Yeah.
I think the word of mouth on this got so bad so quick, because they did a hilarious Facebook post at Terror Films, because the trailer came out, or word got out that it wasn't found footage. People were fucking fuming, and they put out a long, like, you had to open it and read like 5 pages of Facebook talk. And it was to the point where they're like, trust us, we got this, this is a new thing. And then it later came out that the Terror Films guy said, hey, if you don't like this movie, please don't leave bad reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. Only leave those on Letterboxd and IMDb. Ouch. And I was like, that can't be a good sign if you're begging people to not leave dog shit reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. So I think they knew early this was going to be bad. I think word circulated around the horror community. And I think this movie's going to struggle big time. And I have to say, Heath and I were talking. We saw another movie this year, which was an absolute piece of shit, called The Ritual with Al Pacino and Dan Stevens. The setup being, it's the story that inspired The Exorcist, right? The real story. God, was that movie bad and boring. And you're like, how much debt is Pacino in that he took this movie? Who has a piss tape of him or something? It was so bad. I thought about it all weekend, Heath. I don't know that Hell House Lineage LLC was a worse made movie. I know it was a worse script. And I know that I didn't have any love for The Ritual when I went in. And I think this is the ones you love hurt you the most. I think Hell House LLC is officially the worst thing I've seen in the theater all year. It's so insultingly bad, especially to a big fan of the franchise.
We still have a glut of bad Halloween movies yet to come out.
That's true. Like, so we didn't see time. Popeye the Slayer Man and shit. I'm sure there's worse movies. I'm saying that we've seen in the theaters for this podcast.
Yeah.
This is the pits.
It's probably tied for me with The Ritual. Yeah. I can't judge this movie as much because I get what they're doing. It's fan service in theory. It sounds like it didn't really achieve its goal, but I'm not the audience. I needed to come in with way more prerequisite knowledge, and I was punished for not doing my homework. That's for sure.
But again, every movie should function as its own movie, even if it's in a series. Like, if you just turned on Lord of the Rings 2 Towers, you still get a very fulfilling journey, right? It has a start, a middle, and an end, right? Would it be better if you would watch Lord of the Rings? Sure.
Yeah.
But you at least have a story, a contained story that matters. This film does not. This is a fucking purgatory film that has nothing to say. Its reveals don't matter to us. And the new format, it just shows that Cognetti's not ready to take that next step. Like, 8245 Forest Road, I thought was a more mature attempt. Using his baby Hell House and having this be the dog shit outturn, that stunned me. That really fucking stunned me in the theater. I was shocked.
He might just want to get away from Hell House, I'm thinking.
See, I think that too. This reeks of I want to do bigger and better things.
Yeah.
I think the thing he needs to give up on, I think Cognetti could get a real good story by credit, right? Like, he's coming up with the lore and all that. He cannot write the next script. This in 825 Forest Road, this is the worst dialogue I've ever heard in films. Like, he cannot write the next script. I think he's got an eye. I think he's got some talent for directing. Like, he does some things super well. This ain't it.
Yeah,
this ain't it. This was insulting. This hurt my son. You hurt my kid, Cognetti, and that breaks my heart.
All right, so Hunter was talking shit, but I looked over at him. I was sitting right next to Hunter, Griffey's son, and dude, he had his. So the scares were good in this. He had his fucking hoodie pulled over one of his eyes, so he only had to look with one eye.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's something at least, right?
That's classic Griffey tough talk, dude. That's classic Griffey tough. It runs in our family. My son Logan was like, "Can I sit on you? I'm scared." And when the movie ended, I will say this: my second grader said, "Well, that was good, very scary." That was his entire review. And then he listened to all of us shit on it, and he was like, "Yeah, and what about this?" And I was like, "Oh, we ruined it for the kid. He liked it.
Yeah.
He liked it." Yeah. So you got a second grader. That's the one you got, Terror Films. All right. Sam, starting with Sam. What's the... Oh, you have something else?
I have one more thing I wanted to bring up. So I do have a gripe with Hell House.
Okay.
And really only one.
Wow, that's incredible.
I feel like... I mean, there's probably more, but I'm trying to not...
You're talking about the franchise writ large.
The franchise at large, not just this movie.
I can't believe you picked this episode to be positive Sam on.
I know. It fucking sucks. What is the payoff to becoming immortal in this instance? I feel like there needs to be something better than you get to stand in a field and be a fucking clown for all eternity. I was like, there's got to be some sort of actual payoff.
Yeah, I guess totally right.
Why did all these people kill themselves?
Well, he says in one of it, he's like, all I ever wanted was more guests. And I was like, that feels like you could have just run a special. Right? All he really gets out of it is to be on a morning show. Right? He disguises himself as a morning show guest. Like, yeah, it does seem like this is the worst deal with the devil that's ever been made.
It's like, and also the Carmichael, like, they're very remote, right? So in the fourth one, they're running around the property, and yeah, there's tons of people out there in robes. I'm like, so all eternity, you're just out in this forest in a robe, just walking around?
Yeah,
like,
pulling spark plugs and shit. That's literally
like
hell.
Yeah,
it's not like in Devil's Advocate where Keanu Reeves just gets to fuck anything that moves and have cool suits and a haircut. Like, these guys get nothing. They get nothing.
That's my big qualm. There's no payoff for the bad guys at all.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot. It feels like they shouldn't have killed themselves and still been on Earth to reap the benefits of this.
Just live your normal life, man. Who cares?
Yeah, I feel like being an entrepreneur would just be better than being a clown in an empty house. Yeah.
So that's it. I'm done. Boom.
I agree. That is stupid. Maybe they'll pay it off in part 9 that no one will see. All right. Sam, what is the most messed up moment in Hell House LLC Lineage?
Okay, so and this is just messed up because I feel like it was just a horrible plot decision. But why the fuck does her bartender shoot himself? Okay, so the whole idea, I'm afraid these things are going to kill me. Oh, I'll just shoot myself. I'm like, okay.
That is wild. That is wild. Because I don't know if he thought this would protect him from the world's worst satanic gig, which is just living in the basement of a hotel. But then it's like he comes back as a ghost or demon anyways to tell her knowledge.
Exactly. So he's screwed.
So he is still stuck here on Earth. Yeah. So that whole sacrifice was literally for nothing.
I felt like he could, and I guess that's...
He also hinted at, he's like, that guy who died in the first scene was my neighbor. Our parents were close. And I was like, so are you his dad's kid too because of like a 70s key party? What are we talking about here?
Also, yeah,
that was an insanely stupid moment. Heath, what was the most messed up moment in Hell House LLC Lineage?
Okay, first, I'm legitimately asking this. I feel like I may have hallucinated this. Was it this movie where someone had a crucifix earring that was ripped out?
No, I don't think
that wasn't this movie.
No.
Not this movie.
No.
Okay. Well, look, I've been on a lot of night shoots. I'm pretty loopy.
You're trying to fill in the gaps that they left for us.
There was something I saw recently where that happened. Apparently, it wasn't this movie. Okay. So I guess just from... I'm going to go with the guy in the therapist's office in the beginning getting got by the clown through the vantage point of the cell phone. I thought that was very effective, kind of scary. And the reason that works is because the imperfections pay off. Like, it's not well framed. You just barely see a sliver on the side of the figure of the clown at the end where it freezes. Like, that's disturbing. That is why found footage works very well and in the favor of someone with maybe not a lot of great skills or a great crew to pull off a polished piece. You know, those imperfections are what makes it scary because it feels more real. So I guess that was my most messed up moment. I'll also give runner-up to that imagery of all that stuff at the end with the priest and the reporter. There was some good stuff with the corpse coming out of the coffin and whatever that was emerging from the cloth. Some scary images. I don't think that the scene was scary, but you know, it was memorable. So it's a messed up imagery. I'll give it that.
Yeah, if I had to pick my most messed up moment, I'm going to say that it's the priest that 1.5 minutes into his exercising just gets the sweats, and then a ghost fucking McGrubers him. A ghost literally McGrubers or roadhouses him, right, to give proper lineage to the kill. A ghost, like, roadhouses him. And the girl just goes, ah! And that, I was like, so I guess we're not going to win the house? Like, the priest just gets McGrubered?
There's no
that
happy
was
ending.
fucking insane. Like, I literally was watching it, and I was like, wait, what's she doing? And my little kid goes, I think he's scratching her throat. And I go, no, get the fuck out of here. Yeah, this is, I can't honestly believe we talked about this movie this long. I think, like the movie, we had to do a lot of exposition and explaining. This movie was an insult to audiences everywhere. It's the worst movie I've seen all year.
Jesus.
I think it's crazy that this movie actually came out. No, Jimmy and Sticks is way better than this. What I'll say is, I think another thing that just struck me is that the year Final Destination Bloodline came out and did this story 50 times better. This is just another example of how far this movie
that is an awkward happening that Bloodline just happened to come out a month before this, and it's like
and just fucking crush
story.
and reinvigorate a franchise. Whereas this really feels like the next one they're gonna go, because Paranormal did this too, where they did the marked ones and went to LA with the Latino family, and that one was great again. I think they're going back hard on found footage after this. I think you're gonna see a real fucking spanking happen in whatever the fuck this is. If Paranormal Activity Ghost Dimension was not a lesson before, this movie will go down as one of those, like, caution, all ye who enter movies. This movie could not have made more mistakes if you AI generated what is the worst Hell House movie you ever could have made. It's impossible. Right. And that's fucking crazy. I would never have expected this. This was in my top 10 most anticipated movies of the year.
I think this is going to go down as one of those movies where if they do end up making like 4 more or 9 more or whatever, someone's going to be like, well, you kind of have to watch Lineage. It's not very good, but you need to watch it. It's going to be one of those movies.
If we see any Lineage shit happening, you're fired. Don't do that again. Yeah, I don't know, man. That was wild. I was not expecting that. Guys, thank you for your time. We're excited to spend time with you every Monday. We'll be back next Monday, something on demand, because we'll be at the world's greatest film festival, Genre Blast. We can't wait to see all of our friends there. We can't wait to tell you about all of their wild-ass movies. We are in the Midnight Freak Show block, the What the Fuck
Friday
block.
The Friday Night Freak Show block.
The Friday Night Freak Show. I think Sugar Tits is kicking it off.
It is.
From the sounds of it, we are amongst great company and are going to be playing with some fucking wild movies. We will be talking about all that next Friday, right? We're excited to share all that with you. So thank you for your time. We'll see you soon.